Are we on the road to $65 silver? Today, I have a special guest. We're going to talk about that and a lot more going on that will impact the price of silver, will impact the price of gold. Coin Shop Chris, welcome back to Ron's Basement.
Well, as always, Ron, it's always great to be back with you.
Well, on behalf of everyone joining us right now from all over the world, thank you for your time and your information, which you share with us for free. I have a question for you, Chris. I know you are a super fan of Jerome Powell, and he went in front of the Congress this past week and talked about how inflation is such a huge, huge problem. Do you have any thoughts on that subject?
Yes, of course, it's a huge problem, Ron, but they don't want, the Fed does not want inflation to go away. It's a hidden tax, so they can counter the deficit, Ron. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, they don't want to fight inflation. The only way to beat inflation, like Paul Volcker did in 1980, I believe it was, you need to raise the interest rates above the actual inflation rate, not what the government's telling us that it is.
Right.
And well, according to shadow stats, inflation, the government takes out food and oil, and energy. They take that out, but you add that back in, we're at 13.4%, Ron.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that high.
According to stats, that's how high inflation is.
Wow. And well, here's my question for Powell. If inflation is such a big problem still, and it's such a big deal, why did you pause, right? I mean, I still think we have to come back to, we need to judge the Fed on what they're doing, not on what they're saying, right? Like, come on, man, if it's such a huge deal and it's such a huge problem still, then why did you pause?
Well, I will answer that for you. And in my best judgment, Ron, they paused to make it look good.
Yeah.
And they pause again because they don't want to get ahead of inflation.
Yeah. Right. No, I've said that many times. The Fed doesn't really want to fight inflation. They want everybody to think they're fighting inflation. But like you said earlier, if they really wanted to fight inflation, they would have raised the rates above the inflation rate. They can't do that because the whole system would implode. And the only option they have at this point is to inflate the debt away.
Exactly.
Well, finally, we agree on something.
You hit it right on the nose, Ron. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, they have to, if they raise the interest rates at 13.4%, everything's going to collapse. Everything will shut down tomorrow. Everything.
Yeah, well, businesses wouldn't be able to afford the higher rates because we've got so many companies out there that were basically living off the zero interest rate policy. We know the government debt, they can barely afford to pay the interest on the $32 trillion debt that we have right now. And individuals, right? I mean, Americans have record amount of credit card debt. Americans have record amount of consumer debt, car debt, everything else. If we see huge increases in those rates, it'd be a wave of bankruptcies. So, and you know what we're starting to see also this week, we're getting news about the general economy. The PMI numbers, the manufacturing numbers were down. Do you think the overall economy, despite what they're trying to do, is actually now starting to slow down, Chris?
Ron, I believe it started slowing down last Christmas. I mean, that's, we're in kind of like a poop bucket. We just can't win. No matter
what's a poop bucket?
Well, just read between those lines, Ron.
Okay. We're in a poop bucket.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to keep it clean for you.
You're definitely keeping it clean. Remember, I ring the bell every time you curse, so watch it, okay? Should we what about the banks? Should we throw the banks in the poop bucket as well, Chris?
Well, I mean, I've said before, I think we're going to see more bank problems coming up very, very soon.
Yeah.
These regional banks are in trouble. Um, you you know it don't matter what news, like you said, Ron, on your past videos. It don't matter if you watch CNN, Fox, CNBC, Fox Business, Bloomberg. They're not telling you the truth. You're getting
You,
half the truth.
you might as well watch the Cartoon Network.
Yeah, that might be more truthful, but really a lot of YouTubers, including yourself and others, Ron, have said stuff and it's come true.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, you that you cannot believe the Fed, and people want to blame Biden. People wanted to blame Obama for 2008 crisis. Well, I'm just going to give people a little education. Obama was not in office in 2008. Obama didn't get into office in 2009. Now people are going to say, "Oh, I'm a Democrat now." No, that's not what I'm saying. I am. I'm not trying to make it this political, but it's the Fed. It's if you want things to change in this country, you got to start changing the Congress and the Senate and stop keeping these yahoos in office for 45 plus years, because it's not going to change something. They get the bills going. It goes to the president's desk. The president signs the bills or they veto the bills. It's Congress and Senate to blame.
Yeah.
It's Jerome. We can blame Jerome Powell all we want. Nobody in his shoes can fix this mess. You can put in anybody you want in there. Nobody's going to fix it in his shoes.
Right. It's kind of like when the Titanic was sinking, right? They could have appointed a new captain an hour before the ship went down, but the ship was going down anyway.
Right. So I mean,
Um,
I'm not a Jerome Powell fan by any means, Ron. But
right.
you just can't pick somebody out there and say, "Come fix this." It's impossible. That whoever gets this job next is going to be in the same box as Jerome Powell.
Well, Chris, they just passed. It's called, this is great. Wait till you hear this. They passed the Fiscal Responsibility Act of 2023. I didn't realize that was the name of the piece of legislation that allowed them to not raise the debt ceiling, but suspend the debt ceiling. The Fiscal Responsibility Act. I mean, what a complete joke. And if we circle back to silver and gold, I don't know if you follow James Rickards at all. He's I think he worked on Reagan's administration. He's a very smart guy. And he came out with a kind of a bombshell article this week saying that the BRICS on August 22nd, that he thought they were officially going to announce a new gold-backed currency. I mean, we could be heading into some super exciting times when what that would do to the price of gold, and you can only imagine what that would do to the price of silver.
I mean, we can talk $600 silver, $10,000 gold all we want, but what are we pricing it in dollars?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I mean, if we get to these numbers, these ridiculous numbers everybody's talking about, and yeah, they are ridiculous numbers, but I mean, it don't mean everything's gonna go up. It didn't happen in 2011 when silver hit $50 an ounce, or 1980 when silver hit $50 an ounce. Yes, and I know someone's going to say in the comments, silver didn't hit $50 an ounce in 2011. Well, it got pretty gosh darn close. So let me just say that, it's priced in dollars, but if your dollars are worthless, okay, yeah, then we go into the barter system, and it's going to be between you and me and everybody else what an ounce of gold it's worth trading for, an ounce of silver is worth trading for. It might have to come to that, Ron. I'm not saying it's going to.
Right. Well, and Rickards alluded to that in his article when he talked about, like, people are distracted comparing the dollar to the euro, for instance, or the dollar to the yen, the dollar index. They're over there, they're distracted, and what they don't realize is that they're both they relative to each other, they're going to fluctuate, but they're both falling in value. And over here on the other side, you have gold, silver, right, that are real money, that are going to stand the test of time and maintain their value. But everybody's so, everything's so focused on the dollar and the euro, but the reality is the gold, and he didn't mention specifically silver, but I feel confident throwing it in there that silver as well will maintain its value. And that the BRICS, what are they doing, right? What are the BRICS countries doing? Just, they're buying gold. Russia and China are two of the biggest producers of gold in the world. So, if we look at the evidence that's in front of us and aren't blinded by the CNN version of news, or the Fox version of news, or the MSNBC, or whatever you watch, you realize that there's a lot more going on out there, and that silver and gold present what to me is a pretty attractive way to maintain value, to preserve wealth, have some protection.
Well, let me just ask you this, Ron. I'm going to throw something out at you. I mean, that ping pong table that's behind you.
Yes.
How much silver would you take for that if you were going to sell it? Now, when I ask this question, keep the dollar out of your head.
Right.
What?
How many ounces of silver?
How many ounces of silver would you take for that ping pong table?
Okay. Well, let me say this. I love that ping pong table.
Yes, I get that.
Well, I mean, you're not going to let me tell my stories about the ping pong table?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The day I bought this house, before I was married to Susie, I bought the house. I owned this house, and she took over, by the way. But the day I closed on it, she was with me. We were engaged to be married, and we bought it at a garage sale, like 3 houses up the street, for $20. It was the first thing I bought. First thing I had down here was my ping pong table, and I played ping pong on it. I've used it as a workbench. I've had choo-choo trains set up on it, so it's very near and dear to my heart. I might take right, because I'm just sharing with people, and I got a lot of crap underneath it, right? So it'd be a big deal to get rid of it for me. But I might get rid of it for, let's say, 20 ounces of silver. But I'm holding out. I don't think it's worth that, but to me it's worth that. That's what it would take.
Right. Oh, that's fine. I mean, but now everybody's going to go through dollar terms now and say, right, well, 20 ounces of silver, depending what type of silver you buy. I mean, you can get rounds right now for about $515 for 20 ounces. And people can say, well, that ain't worth $515. People are still thinking in dollars at that term.
Oh yeah. Right.
I mean,
yeah.
That's why I'm trying to make a point. We got to start thinking about, is this worth this silver, but keep the dollar out of it. Well, that's very hard to do.
I want to tell the quick story about how you and I met. You sent me an email, and with picture of heads of lettuce at your grocery store,
yes,
and it was $5 a head. And you said, is 1 ounce of silver worth 5 heads of lettuce? And I looked at that and I thought, who is this nutcase sending me this email, right?
And
Are you laughing?
I believe you called me a nutcase too. No, I'm just joking, Ron.
No, I thought this is interesting. He's got a good point, and yeah, you got to think, what's an ounce of silver worth? And then I remember I emailed you back and I said, I don't think I wouldn't trade 1 ounce of silver for 5 heads of lettuce. It just does not seem like an attractive exchange for me, right? I'd give you 5 heads of lettuce for 1 ounce of silver. But yeah, absolutely. We got to realize, and right, even lately it's been a bit of I mean, we are going to get $65 silver. People, you can bash me all you want in the comments. That's okay. But my opinion, I almost know that we're going to get it. And I think we're going to get it probably sooner than most people think, but that remains to be seen. And I could be wrong, but we've been through since Cinco de Mayo. We had $26.20 silver. I think now we're at what, $22.50? We're down 15%. It's been painful. Some people are happy. because they say, well, that means I can buy more silver. I can buy more silver. Other people are in a little bit of pain. I'm probably more in the pain side because I bought most of my silver, although I did just recently buy a little bit more. But brighter days are ahead, right, Chris?
Yeah, and the people who are paying, I get their pain. But keep in mind, if you're not ready to sell, you haven't lost a dime. I mean, that's
Right.
what people need to realize. You have not lost a dime. That if you sell it and it's down from where you bought it, then you have lost.
Yep. Yep.
But
Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute, Chris. You just committed the capital sin, right? You said you haven't lost. We got to remember, and I'm just joking around with you. But we got to remember. Isn't it? I mean, it's so hard for us to remember. Think about our silver in terms of ounces, not in terms of dimes or dollars or right?
Bingo. Yeah. I don't care if silver went down to $15, Ron.
Yeah.
I'm buying on the way down. You want to be getting your silver and gold, your platinum on the way down. You don't want to, Michael, what's his name there? Michael,
Oliver.
Thank you. Yes, Michael. He had a report on Liberty and Finance a few weeks back, or maybe about a month ago. People may want to go back and watch that one on their YouTube silver. He called for $22 silver at the bottom. Well, we got down to 22.14.
Yeah.
This guy has been right just about almost every single time, and he says from $22 it's going to start spiking up.
Yeah.
Now this is yet to be seen. What's going to happen next week, the week after? We don't know. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. But Chris, I want to. Well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
He can read charts very, very well. He don't have no crystal ball either, but he's been in this field a long, long time.
I want to end with this, Chris. You see that? Does that look familiar?
Yes, sir. That's the one I sent you.
Yep. And I want to reiterate to everyone. Since May 5th, and I had this on May 5th, when silver was priced in US dollars at $26.20 through today, where it's priced at $22.50. This has not changed one bit, right? It's still an ounce of silver.
That's right.
It's still an ounce of silver. Coin Shop Chris, thank you as always for joining us. Can we count on you to join us again sometime soon? Maybe we can talk about food shortages. Maybe we can talk about some exciting news you got about the coin shop that you work at. Do you think you can come back and join us again?
Absolutely, Ron. I'd just like to remind, I should have said this at the beginning. Everybody, please like, share, and subscribe. That really helps Ron out to spread this word out. It's all free. So, I mean, it's going to help you in the long run. The more people know about silver, gold, and platinum for our friend Neil, it's going to help you to get more silver in people's hands, more metals in people's hands.
We can wake a few.
Wake more people up. The more we can share this, like this, that gets the algorithm going on YouTube, and it will suggest to more and more people. Let's wake everybody up.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you, Chris. And
Thank you,
we'll
Ron.
look forward to seeing you again soon. Okay.
We will talk to you soon. Yes, sir.